Hey everybody, how's it going today? Just wanted to share a couple things. I put this new radio in my 2009 Jeep Wrangler Sahara, and it has a pretty high quality sound system from the factory. It has the amp, has the rear subwoofer. That makes a difference when you order some of these things. So this is a Boss, I think, Elite, and it looks like a BV7G5 BLC model. I got this on Crutchfield.com. They have like the best kits, the best prices, and I absolutely love it. It does Bluetooth with my phone, it streams from my phone, has a USB slot, it has a mini SD card slot, like everything I could want. Where this original radio had a 6-disc player in it, and it was great for a while. However, because it's more mechanical stuff going on with 6 discs, it started hanging up. Didn't want to eject and take in the disc right anymore. And I really wanted to use a USB stick. I absolutely love them. You just load it up and then you stick it in there. There's no moving parts, and it's just great. Okay, as again you can see, it's a Boss radio, and believe it or not, I got everything to put this in for just over $200 from Crutchfield.com. They have the best setup, in my opinion, a website on finding what you need for your car. And in my case, I didn't have to hack anything. I got a nice install kit, so you could use your factory wiring. You get an adapter that you adapt to your new radio's harness. So that's like the only splice connections you're doing. And you're not mutilating your factory wiring harness, so you can easily switch it back if you sell the car or anything. Maybe just want to get another radio again. So this is an Elite BV765 BLC. I picked it out on their website, and I just can't believe what radios, how inexpensive they are. They're paying the same thing for a radio that I paid for, 20 years ago, but all this quality. Like I said, it's got touch screen. It has 1 disc in it. This had 6, and that sounds great, and I used to like it. But as it's getting aged and things like that, and especially in the colder weather, it acts up. It doesn't want to eject properly anymore. It doesn't want to take in the disc properly anymore. So I really wanted just a USB. So, but now I got the SD card. I haven't used that yet, but USB is great. You load up a stick. They come in multiple sizes. You can put a ton of music on, especially if they're MP3s. I believe it also will play a DVD, and you're supposed to hook up, a wire to your parking brake. That's the only time it'll come in. But I want to share a couple things about it. It came with, after, it was optional, but yes, I said put it in there. Crooks SOOCR-26 installation kit, which is just a bunch of wiring harnesses, and it came with some, framework, so I didn't have to, it didn't look ugly in the dash, which I'll show you in a little bit. And, you have to tinker around with the settings and how far you want it to stick out and all that crap. But it was a little tricky with, I didn't quite understand the rear view camera. So you're supposed to hook that up to, here's the camera wire. And, what I did with the camera wire is I used, basically, this would be your Reese Hitch ball adapter, and I took a piece of square stock, same size, and I believe you can buy these, but it came with a kit already. And you can see I'm going to use, because where do you put the damn camera on this thing? So I can't find a nice spot in the back, and I'm not willing to drill through my bumper because I want it in the center. Now they gave you, as you can see on the box, they gave you the camera in a license plate frame style of holder. So you have to put that on one end or the other of your license plate. And in my state, if you cover up New Jersey or the Garden State, you can get a ticket. So that wasn't really an option. So what I did was I took these 2 side ears off that just simply screw on, and you can see here that I just grafted it onto a piece of square stock that it's exactly the same size, drilled a hole in it for the Reese hitch, the pin, and then I just basically I took a piece of its own hardware, silicone the I'm not showing you very clearly, silicone the camera to the piece of metal and then screwed it fast here. Now I could take this out if I want to hook my trailer on. I do have a trailer, and you know, it's right dead center in the car. I love it. So this is obvious, this connection here. This one was not right here. So what it is you're supposed to hook this to your backup light bulb. So when you put the backup lights on, red for positive, black for negative, it turns on the light bulb, which therefore activates the camera. Now I was trying to find out, let me show you the other end of the wire. This is the camera's wire here, or not the camera, it's coming from the, I got this on here for testing. This came from or should say goes up to the radio. Now this car does have an input for, it knows when it's in reverse, and that actually had a spot where you can graft it into the radio with the adapter kit and things. So when you put it in reverse, it tells the radio, yes, we're in reverse now. So then it puts out a signal to the harness. Now this is your video lead, and notice this wire here, the red one. I could not find out, well, like a couple videos, oh, you don't use that, cut that off, right? So, which means you cut it off on the other end too. And you're just using, because it pops out up at the radio in the car, and it pops out back here, and it's not used. Well, why is it there? So I found out that on this lead here that goes to your tail light, you don't need that one if you have the reverse signal. As soon as I hook this up to this red wire here, so you do need the red wire, I should have said that. You need the red wire, but the black you don't need. And the funny thing is, as soon as I ground it, the picture goes out. It's I must receive the ground through maybe this here, the RCA. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to show you is I found a video from Crooks where they're putting it in the exact same Jeep but a different radio. Now the guy said it took him a better part of an hour to get this bracket out. It has to come out to clear the new radio on most radios, because these new radios are more blocky, like a square instead of a rectangle like the original one. So it does go back and it hits this. So it needs to come out, and he basically mutilated his. I did something real smart. I left it bolted in, and I took a Sawzall, or a reciprocating saw, and I got to the inside of it here, and I just went that way, and then I went that way. And you have to absolutely move any wires or anything out from behind now, because a throw-your blade is longer than you think. So you got to think of that, because you'll be punching things out behind it. So if you want to do it this way, you just have to absolutely make sure you don't want to cut up some wire or anything and then have more trouble for yourself. But after you cut it, you unbolt it and out it comes, and it could be tacked back together, you know, and use it again if you ever wanted to reverse it. So that's a couple things there I want to show you. Now the other thing is, I hate hacking my cars, and I'm not going to show you routing the wire through the inside of the car. That is easy. But what I do want to show you is how I can get it to the trailer hitch. So let's take a look at that. Alright, so here you have my camera, and they are directional. So, and actually I think I have it so it's going to see upside down. No big deal, I'll swing it around. But like I said, I didn't want to drill through my bumper. It just horrifies me. Or for that matter, making holes anywhere else that I don't feel comfortable about. I'm picky like that. So, but what I did find was a nice spot. If you go inside here, this is where the jack goes. And I've never had it out. And look what we got here. We got a rubber body plug. And it has been leaking, and that's why you see that filmy rust in there, because you can see by the jack, it's been getting taken on water and draining it back out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up, I'm going to cut a slot into this rubber grommet, bring the wires in there, and then seal the whole thing up with silicone all around the edges and where I cut it, so the water doesn't re-enter there. And then I don't think I'm going to put the jack back in there. I think I'll just lay it in this compartment back here. And as for the jack anyway, the way it goes in there, let's have a look at that. The way the jack goes in the car, it slides under like a kind of like a clip in the body right here. And then they crank it tight here with this right here. Okay, so this is designed so you can crank it with your hand to get it to lower and get it out. Well, this jack's never been out, and look, trust me, I'm fairly strong with my hands, and I had a hard time getting it out. So I can only think of like what would happen, because when do you get it flat? The worst time, like in a snowstorm or something like that, and you're trying to fiddle with that while you have frozen fingers. So I would suggest loosening that up, maybe even putting some grease on it, or do what I'm going to do, throw it in the compartment. So I'm going to run that wire up in there, and sorry for all the debris back here. You can see I do use this Jeep for like a truck sometimes. So I'm going to run the wire, connect it all up, and I'm going to show you the camera. You can see the grommet is in. I got it siliconed in place around the outside perimeter and all around where the wire comes through. And it shouldn't leak, but I'll be able to check on it now. And this wire was so stupid easy to run on this Jeep. It's just loosely laid. It's going over here. It's disappearing under there. And all the mats and carpets in these things, they're not like in a car where they're all fastened down and tucked under, by 6 inches of rug. It's really easy to pass the cord. That's why I said I'm not going to show it. But let's go to the inside now and check the function on the radio. Okay, so here's the radio. I still have it powered off, the car's off, and I have that cable, the video cable, going down behind the glove box, and it disappears down there and ends up going down, popping out over here, and then runs along the side. And like I said, it was easy to install. So back over to the radio. Let's start the vehicle, and I'm going to turn the volume down like really quick so YouTube doesn't get the video flagged for copyright. Okay, so copyright of an artist's music, because I've had that happen where they cut your sound out because you're copyright infringement, although I think it's helping the artist to sell more music. Anyway, so we have our music up, and right now it's USB. So that's right here. And the mini SD is back there. You can't see it because of this. So then we have our different screens. So we'll just hit the home screen, and now you can see, I know the sun is changing angle, so I'm trying to see. All right, so it's touch screen. So the one thing you could do is you could, without even being in reverse, you could have a look behind you. So it's coming on now, and there we go. Like I said, the sun is starting to get low in the sky, so it's kind of like messing up my view a little bit. So we can see right behind us, and then we'll go home again. And then you have the tuner, you have the streaming. So the streaming is really cool because it can read the music right out of my phone. You have a single disc player, which I like better than a multi because it's less mechanical stuff. I won't be using it much. Telephone, it can answer my phone, which I've tried it, it works great. And that's it. And I guess the AV is just exactly what it is, AV input. I'll never use that. So now let's just shift to reverse. And there we go, our camera's on again. And it'll mute the radio somewhat, not completely, when you put it in reverse. So there we go, back to home screen. And then you got everything else, equalizer settings. So in short, when I was looking to hook up the camera, and the other videos I saw, I said, oh, don't use these wires coming from the video cable, the long one that goes from the radio all the way back to the camera. Cut them off. So I'm like, well, why are they there? Why is it there, the one single red cable? And it looks like if you have a radio like this, and I'm not going to swear to that at all, but in my experience, it looks like if you have not a radio like this maybe, but a car like this that has an input from the car to the radio, which means it also told the original radio that it was going in reverse, although it had no backup camera for some reason. is telling this radio with that single red wire, I'm going in reverse. The car sends a signal from the shifter, and it comes up through the harness and gets into this radio, and then it sends it back along that single red wire without hooking up the ground from the opposite end. So that's what I found out. So that basically, that black wire back there is just not hooked up to anything. And I did find out when I grounded it, the video picture would go out. So it's just interesting. But the camera directions that came with the radio were so crappy. It's like, I understand this stuff real well, and it was baffling me. So I hope this helps somebody that might be running into this camera issue, and that's the point of this video. Thanks for watching.